Behavior of road users and their responsibilities. The objective of this lecture is to understand the behavior of road users and their responsibilities. Before we start, it is important to understand who are road users. A road user may be anyone who's using the road. It can be pedestrian, children, a cyclist, a motorcyclist, people of determination, or other vehicles such as trucks, buses, tram, police, ambulance, firefighters. These are the modules we will discuss in this lecture. Training and testing process. Attitude in driving. Always give way. Watch out. Insurance. Consequences of traffic accident. Vehicle safety features. Constant learning. In this module, you will learn about attitude in driving. 1/3 of all fatal crashes occur due to the misinterpretation of drivers. The drivers fail to anticipate properly what other road users may do, and they get trapped in an accident. In this region, most of the people are from different parts of the world, with different cultures, customs, and imprinted behaviors. Sometimes they apply their imprinted behavior on the road, making it difficult to judge the future course of their action. So, to be a responsible driver, your utmost responsibility is to carry a positive attitude and ensure your safety and the safety of other road users around you. Now, let's see what is an attitude. Attitude is a complex mental state involving our belief, values, and our tendency to act in a certain way. Your attitude shows your personality, your thoughts, and your beliefs. It is in the way you conduct yourself in front of other people, not only while you're driving, but also in your daily routine. So, your attitude plays a very vital role while you're driving. Remember, driving with a positive attitude can avoid many accidents. Let's have a look at some examples of bad attitude in driving and their consequences. Example 1. The main reason behind jumping red light is to save the time. Common conception is that when motorists seize the green signal, they try to cross it in the same attempt. It has been observed that the red jumper crosses the traffic light with greater speed to avoid crash and fines. But it hampers their ability to judge the oncoming traffic, which often leads them to crashes. This kind of act puts themselves and others in very dangerous situations. This violation is usually caused by a bad attitude of the motorist. Example 2. Tailgating. Tailgating is driving too close to the front vehicle without maintaining a safe distance. Moreover, flashing the headlights to intimidate others may cause an accident. This is another example of a bad attitude. Example 3. Overspeeding. Another example of bad attitude while driving is overspeeding, which is also the cause of several accidents. Driving too fast under any circumstance is an unacceptable driving behavior. Weaving in and out of the lane. Weaving in and out of the lane means that the driver is not following the lane discipline and is constantly changing lanes between the vehicles. This action creates disturbance on the road, especially when they do that without indicators at high speed and in a dangerous manner. Such motorists want to pass other vehicles by filling the space which they've kept for driving safely. This kind of bad attitude forces other motorists to make sudden actions such as hard braking or swerving immediately. Remember, aggressive driving style is not only dangerous but also increases fuel consumption, adds to traffic congestion, and makes driving more stressful. Motorists must drive with positive attitude in busy traffic areas. They must always slow down and be mentally prepared to stop on unexpected hazards, such as pedestrians crossing the road, children standing nearby or running across, other vehicles reversing from parking or other unexpected hazards. While driving in a busy area, the law states you must not expose pedestrians to any danger whatsoever. You shall also stop whenever required to avoid danger and any road user. Article 10.9 UAE Federal Traffic Law No. 21, 1995. Therefore, always drive with kind, courteous, and positive attitude. Way. In this module, you will learn about the road users to whom you must always give way. They are pedestrians, emergency vehicles, trams. You must always give way to pedestrians. According to a study based on rate per 100,000 population, accidents related to pedestrians are comparatively higher in the region than other countries. Pedestrians always have priority to cross the road, merely because a pedestrian is not protected on the road the way we are inside our vehicle. Vehicles have different safety features to protect us, but a pedestrian has none, whether they're walking in a protected area or not. Being a driver, it is your responsibility to be concerned about the safety of pedestrians. Slow down or stop when required to allow a pedestrian to cross the road in order to avoid any accident and to also avoid fines. When being a pedestrian yourself, you must cross only at the designated areas to avoid any accidents or fines as well. Pedestrian traffic signals. Important rule. Drivers must always give way to pedestrians who are crossing the road you are turning into. Article 36, Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law, number 21, 1995. In the designated areas, most of the traffic signals are controlled by the pedestrians for their road crossing. They can control the pedestrian traffic signal with the help of a pelican box. As a road user, a pedestrian must obey the traffic signals. And as a safe and responsible motorist, you must slow down and be more cautious if pedestrians do not obey the traffic signals. Pedestrians at pedestrian crossings. Important rule. You must slow down while approaching a pedestrian crossing indicated by road markings and traffic lights, or where a police officer is controlling movement of traffic. In the case that there are neither signals nor police officers, you must stop and give way to pedestrians. Article 35, Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law, number 21, 1995. Usually you will find pedestrian crossings at the following locations: across the road, either a two-way street or a multi-lane road, at intersections, and at slip lanes. Let us see what is a slip lane. A slip lane is an area of the road for vehicles turning right. It is separated from other parts of the road by a traffic island. Slip lanes are usually found at intersections. Remember, pedestrians always have priority, even if they're walking on the pavement and make an intention to cross the road. If a vehicle collides with a pedestrian, it usually results in serious injury or fatality. As a road user, you must always give priority to emergency vehicles. Emergency vehicles are official vehicles, firefighters, ambulances, police vehicles, military vehicles when they proceed in convoys. You can easily spot them as they approach with loud sirens and flashing lights. It is your responsibility to give way to these vehicles, to pass smoothly, even if you're standing at a traffic light and your signal is green. You must stop and move aside to give priority for these vehicles to pass. You must always give way to trams. A tram is a public vehicle powered by electric and ground cables. Road and Transport Authority introduced trams to ensure the smooth transportation of people in Dubai. While you're driving near the tram, you must be cautious of the ongoing tram to avoid any collision. It may be difficult for a tram to stop suddenly. Though tram has a separate track on the road for movement, it intersects with other road users at junctions and pedestrian crossings. So it is essential that all road users, including vehicles and pedestrians, must give priority to the passing tram to avoid any danger. However, on these tracks, the emergency vehicles have the priority to pass. No road user should obstruct the movement of the tram in any way. Any of the following conducts by a road user can be considered as a violation and can attract a fine: stopping the vehicle on the tram track, parking the vehicle at undesignated spots, littering in front of the tram, fixing any kind of outdoor hoarding at the tram track. Pedestrians should cross the tram track only at the designated area. Walking around the tram track is also considered as a violation. Point to remember. In case of any collision with the tram, you must remain at the accident scene until the police and rescue team arrives. In this module, you will learn to whom or what you need to watch out while driving. You should watch out for children, vehicles of people of determination, school buses, buses and taxi lanes, motorcyclists and cyclists, animals. As a motorist, you must always be aware of children around you. Children are considered as a potential hazard. It is harder to see them because of their smaller size, and they often do unexpected things. They may not judge the speed and distance of the vehicle. See the objects on their side. Identify the direction of the speed. Motorists must be cautious about children while passing by residential areas, mosques, playgrounds, shops, shopping malls, parks, and school areas. Watch out for younger children especially, as they may cross the road without looking around. You must watch out for people of determination. These are vehicles specially designed for people of determination or people with special needs. As these vehicles are smaller in size, it is hard to see them. You may come across people of determination in residential areas, areas for worships, shopping malls, parks. Always watch out, and if their intention is to cross the road, stop and let them cross safely. You must watch out for school buses. The main aim of the UAE Roads and Transport Authority is to keep every road user safe. Every school bus in the UAE is yellow in color, in order to warn the drivers that there are students nearby. School buses are mostly found at residential and school areas where they frequently stop to board and alight the students. Whenever a school bus stops, an articulated stop arm and hazard light turns on. Your responsibility is to stop, be patient, avoid using the horn, and allow the bus to pass first. Remember, school buses may stop for several minutes, especially if there are several students to board or alight. Be extra cautious when there are school buses traveling nearby. You must watch out for bus and taxi lanes. To improve the mobility of public transportation and to avoid traffic jams, the Road and Transport Authority has reserved lanes for RTA buses and taxis. These lanes can be easily identified as it is clearly mentioned on them, only bus and taxi lanes. Private vehicles are prohibited to drive in these lanes, and failing to follow this rule may attract a fine. You must watch out for motorcyclists and cyclists. As a motorist, you must be cautious about motorcyclists and cyclists around your vehicle because it is difficult to spot them, especially when they are coming from behind, or overtaking, turning, or filtering through traffic. It is also difficult to spot them at junctions and roundabouts. They are more vulnerable to accidents as they ride faster and are less protected being on two wheels. Moreover, motorcyclists and cyclists may suddenly need to avoid uneven road surfaces and obstacles, such as drain covers or oily and wet patches on the road. If they look over the shoulder, it means that they intend to pull out, turn, or change direction. You must always give them plenty of room, and be sure to check mirrors and blind spots carefully, as they might be present in your blind spots. Road and Transport Authority have also built dedicated cycling tracks in various areas of the city to promote the physical sport and encourage people to use cycle to travel for short distances. Drivers need to watch out to avoid close contact with them. Vehicle collision with wildlife also accounts for some of the incidents reported in the UAE causing injuries, deaths, and property damage. So you need to watch out for animals while driving, as they are unpredictable. While driving outside the city limits, you may find animals like camels. So it is your responsibility as a driver to be very careful, reduce your speed, never use your horn around the animals. It may frighten them and could cause them to run, which may lead to a crash. While driving at night, be careful and use your headlights smartly so that you do not attract animals. In urban and suburban areas, the drivers need to pay more attention as an animal may suddenly approach the road, resulting in crashes and property damages. Vehicle insurance. As per law, an insurance policy is mandatory for all vehicles. It has to be done with the Registration Department of Road and Transport Authority. Basically, there are two kinds of insurance policies: comprehensive insurance, also known as full insurance, TPL, which means third-party liability. An insurance policy can involve up to 3 parties. The first party is the insurance company. The second party is the insurer, who in turn is the owner of the vehicle. And the third party is the other vehicle involved in case of an accident. In the comprehensive or full insurance policy, the insurance company covers the cost of the damage for both the second and third party. In TPL or third-party liability insurance, the insurance company will cover the cost of damage for the third party only. In this case, the second party or the owner will be responsible for the damage of his own vehicle. Before taking an insurance policy, always read the terms and conditions properly, as various insurance companies have different coverage policies. List of conditions in which the insurance company will not cover the claim. Even if your vehicle is insured, there are several cases in which the insurance company will not cover your claim. Few of these conditions are: if the driver is under the influence of alcohol or a sedative medicine, if driving a vehicle belonging to another category for which he does not have a license. For example, if your driving license permits you to drive only light motor vehicles, you cannot claim an insurance for any mishap occurring while riding a bike. If driving a vehicle in another country, which is not covered in the policy. If the driver is driving without wearing spectacles, in the case where it is mentioned as mandatory in the license. Consequences of not complying with insurance policies. Therefore, in such conditions, the insurance company will not cover the claim, as motorists are not complying with their terms and conditions. In this case, all the liabilities, including vehicle damage, property damage, injury or fatality, will be paid by the motorists. In the UAE, driving under the influence of alcohol is punishable by law. The driver violate the rule will be imposed with 24 black points along with a fine decided by a court. Consequences of driving an uninsured vehicle. An active car insurance policy is legally required in order to register and drive your vehicle. If you're caught driving without proof of insurance, you could face stiff penalties. Potential consequences of driving without an insurance may include a costly ticket, a lack of financial protection in the event of an accident, and even denial of coverage if you're involved in an accident and not at fault. Being involved in a fatal accident without insurance is a very serious situation. If you get involved in a fatal accident where someone is killed and your vehicle is not insured, you will be fully liable to pay the blood money to the victims of the accident. Other than that, you may also face the costly fines and other punishment will be imposed by the authorities. In this module, you will learn about vehicle safety features which protect drivers and passengers in the case of an accident. Let's first have a look at the road accident statistics. Road crash statistics. According to the World Health Organization report on world road safety, approximately 1.24 million people die annually, which is approximately 3,400 people per day. Another 20 to 50 million sustain non-fatal injury. These injuries and deaths have an immeasurable impact upon the affected families and communities. There are many ways to cut down these figures. One prominent way to reduce the number of fatalities and injuries is by using the vehicle safety features. Vehicles are equipped with various safety features which play an important role to keep all the occupants safe during crashes. These include seatbelt, child restraint system as add-on, airbag, head restraint, crumple zone. More safety features are also available depending on the type and model of the vehicle. Let's take a brief look at the important safety features. The modern seatbelt was invented by a Swedish engineer named Nils Berlin in 1959. This invention changed the world by preventing injuries during a car crash. Seatbelt is the primary safety feature in any vehicle. Therefore, it is important for all the occupants of the vehicle, both in the front and rear seats, to wear it. Let's take a look at some of the advantages of a seatbelt. When properly worn, the seatbelt has many advantages. Seatbelt reduces the chances of traffic-related fatalities, prevents ejection of occupants from the vehicle, holds the occupants securely in place on seat, improves control. Seatbelts help to control the vehicle during a crash. Reduces injuries. Seatbelt spreads the force of impact on the large part over large part of body, reducing severity of injury. Valuable. Seatbelt is valuable, as it reduces the medical expenses and saves time. Now let's take a look at some of the life-threatening dangers of not using a seatbelt. The dangers of not using the seatbelt are severe. During a crash, the vehicle may come to a sudden stop as a result of the collision, but the occupants inside the vehicle will continue to move forward within the cabin at the speed of the vehicle. During high speeds, the impact that the occupants might face within the vehicle can be severe or even fatal. Serious injuries often occur when occupants are thrown onto each other with great force, or strike against the hard parts in the interior of the vehicle, such as steering wheel, windscreen, gear stick, or dashboard. The driver, along with the passengers, can even be thrown out if the vehicle is at a very high speed. Serious injuries or deaths often result when people are thrown out. According to the laws of physics, when a person weighing 75 kilograms is thrown off from the seat during a crash, while traveling at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour, the force of impact he suffers during the crash will be equal to 15 tons. So always buckle up and make sure that the seatbelt is used appropriately so that it provides the maximum protection. Let's see the design of a seatbelt. Seatbelt is designed to be worn on the bony structure of the body and should be worn across the front and the pelvis, chest and shoulder so that it can provide the maximum protection. Also make sure it is firmly adjusted. It must not be twisted. It must only restrain one occupant. Remember, seatbelt is important for everyone during every journey, be it short trip or a long one. Even pregnant women should use the seatbelt to keep herself and her unborn baby safe. An add-on safety feature, child restraint system, can be used if children are traveling with you. A driver is not only responsible for his own safety but also for the safety of the occupants of his vehicle. If there are children in the vehicle, the best protection for them is the child restraint system, also known as child seats. Child seats can reduce the risk of injury and fatalities to a great extent during vehicle crashes. These especially designed seats absorb the impact of the crash and keep the child secure and safe. In the UAE, most of the children do not travel in the child seats. Around 50% children killed in road traffic accidents were unrestrained passengers. Many of these deaths could have been prevented if they were traveling in an appropriately fitted child seat. Being a responsible parent, you should use child seats for your children even when traveling for a short distance. Make sure to use the appropriate child seat depending on the age and size of the child. There are 4 stages of child seats. They are: Stage 1, baby seat; Stage 2, child seat; Stage 3, booster seat; Stage 4, booster cushion. Stage 1, baby seat. Baby seat is also known as an infant seat. This seat is rear-facing and is used for newborn babies till they are 12 months old, or weighing up to 13 kilograms, or having a height up to 65 centimeters. It has an integral harness. This seat is positioned rear-facing, that is, opposite to the direction of the travel, because babies need extra support while traveling in a vehicle. Babies have a large and heavy head compared to their body. Their necks are not strong enough to withstand the force of a crash. A rear-facing seat with a secure harness will support the baby's neck and helps to protect the baby in an abrupt stop or crash as it distributes the crash force along the entire back, neck, and head, putting less stress on any single part of the body. It is time to move the baby to a forward-facing child seat when the top of their head sticks up above the top of the baby seat. Stage 2. Child seat. Child seat is also known as a convertible seat. This seat is forward-facing and is used for children from 1 to 4 years, weighing between 9 kilograms to 18 kilograms and height from 65 to 95 centimeters. Child seats have internal harness, which includes the crotch straps that prevent the child from sliding out in case of a sudden stop or crash. This seat must be positioned forward, facing the direction of travel. It will be time to move the child to a booster seat when the top of their head stays above the upper portion of the child seat. Stage 3. Booster seat. This seat can be used for children from the age of 4 to 6 years, weighing between 15 kilograms to 25 kilograms and height from 95 to 125 centimeters. Booster seats are normal seats designed to allow the child to use the adult seat belt. The purpose of this seat is to position a child such that the seat belt is correctly placed on the lap and the shoulder. Move the child to a booster cushion when the height range exceeds the booster seat's limit. Booster cushions are used for children aged between 6 and 11 years, weighing between 22 to 36 kilograms, and with a height ranging from 125 to 140 centimeters. Booster cushions are used when the child outgrows to use the booster seat. Booster cushions are designed to boost the height of the child to correctly use the adult seat belt. It is always recommended to fix the child restraint system in the middle of the rear seat, as it is the safest position if it fits well. You should check the owner's manual of your vehicle, as well as the car seat user's guide, for secure installation. If the child is taller than 140 centimeters, they may use the adult seat belt. Use the adjustable anchorage point to ensure that the diagonal part of the belt is not too close to the neck. The shoulder belt should fit comfortably across the middle of the shoulder and the chest. The lap section of the belt should stretch below the hips and not across the abdomen to avoid injuring internal organs in the case of a crash. Young children are naturally curious about their surroundings. They always try to explore. They may interfere with the internal controls without understanding the consequences. Therefore, to keep children safe, always use child locks in the rear doors when they are in the vehicle. Another safety feature found in vehicles is the airbag. Airbag is a safety device mainly for adults. They are fitted inside the vehicles and inflate rapidly in case of a collision to provide cushion to the passenger. It is also known as Supplemental Restraint System or SRS airbag. Airbags are fully effective only when they are used along with seat belts. During a collision, the sensors detect the impact and trigger the inflation of the airbag. Airbags inflate faster than the blink of an eye to provide soft landing to the body. It softens the impact the passengers face and protects them from hitting against the steering wheel, windscreen, and other parts of the vehicle. The airbags deploy very swiftly. So, for the best protection, always sit properly on the seat, use the seat belt, keep a minimum distance of 25 centimeters as safe space from the breastbone to the steering wheel. Remember, although the airbags are intended to provide protection, they can be dangerous for children. So keep the children or the child seats away from the airbag. Another safety feature of vehicles is the head restraint. One of the most common reported types of injuries from a vehicle accident is neck injury, which can be prevented if drivers and passengers are using head restraint appropriately while driving. A head restraint is designed to limit the movement of head and provide support in an accident. A properly adjusted head restraint will help to protect against whiplash and save from a long-term injury. Always ensure your head restraint is adjusted properly as either a driver or a passenger. In order to position the head restraint correctly, make sure the center of the head restraint is in level with the top of the ear or the eye level. The distance between the head and head restraint should be less than 4 inches or 10 centimeters. Another built-in safety feature is the crumple zone. Manufacturers have provided a hidden built-in safety feature known as the crumple zone in most of the vehicles. It protects the occupants during frontal, rear, and side crashes by absorbing the crash energy. This means that the body of the vehicle crumples up and reduces most of the impact to protect the driver and the passengers. There are many other safety features in vehicles that help to protect its occupants. It is worth to know about them and their functions before you drive on the road. In this module, you'll learn about the consequences of traffic accidents. One accident occurs in the UAE every 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It could be either a major or minor crash. Research has proven that 96% of traffic accidents take place due to human errors. It means that these 96% of accidents are preventable. Motorists should try to avoid accidents by obeying traffic rules, minimizing distraction, and showing courtesy, kindness, and a positive attitude while driving. The consequences of traffic accidents are always bad, irrespective of whether it's a major accident or a minor one. It is very important to understand the consequences of traffic accidents, as there may be fatalities, serious injuries, vehicle damage, property damage, problems occurring from vehicle insurance, vehicle reparation, traffic fines. Road traffic accidents are a serious problem worldwide. The consequences of road traffic accidents primarily affect the direct participants of road traffic accidents and their families. The direct participants of road traffic accidents particularly suffer health consequences. Drivers and passengers can suffer from minor cuts and bruises to broken limbs, whiplash, back and spinal injuries, paralysis, and even death. Since road traffic accidents lead to many fatal disabled injuries, the consequences of these accidents are fundamentally reflected in the social sphere. This concerns job losses and the related financial hardships, loss of amenity, and a fatal impact on the functioning of the whole family. We should not forget that the psychological impact of the consequences of road traffic accidents do not only affect the direct participants, but also their families. The costs associated with road traffic accidents are shouldered by the whole society. To avoid these consequences and to be safe on the road, you must drive with utmost care and responsibility. Being a safe and responsible driver, always follow the rules and regulations and use the vehicle safety features appropriately.
So I just confess that I text and drive? If I get a text, I'll look at my phone. It's definitely texting.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Snapchat. I do Snapchat and drive sometimes.
Is that like making Snapchats or watching them?
Making them.
Texting is like my main form of communication.
Boredom, honestly.
And B, well, nah, I guess no, it's really just A.
I've only never done it at stoplights. I've always been really good about it.
The passenger has a pretty important role driving now, where they're like, oh, red light, red light.
If someone that you like texts you, you can't just let it sit there without just knowing what they said.
Because what if something exciting's happening or something happened?
Like every time I do it, I think about, I'm like, why am I doing this? And then I just keep doing it.
So I'd like to, want to introduce you to a friend of ours.
My name is JC.
Hi, Alexis.
Hi, Dash.
Justin, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I just really quickly want to have a chat, tell you what happened to me. When I was 21 years old, driving home from my college graduation ceremony, driver on his phone was so distracted, he turned left into the intersection at a red light. Another car, an 18-wheeler, swerved to miss him and hit my family's car. And the resulting collision actually killed both of my parents. I spent 2 months in the hospital fighting for my own life, and then 2 more months in a rehab hospital, learning how to walk again, learning how to speak again, learning how to dress myself and how to feed myself. I live with a partially paralyzed body. I didn't have my daddy to walk me down the aisle when I got married.
Having sort of met JC, because you look at JC and sort of give those same reasons.
Usually I use my phone to change a song on. I try to use it as little as possible, but
I'm not gonna look at my phone ever again.
Honestly, if I have been sitting at a red light, I'll like glance down to see if my mom's texting me, but the people's lives that are impacted from something that is so stupid.
I can assure you on my drive home right now, I'm not going to use my phone and drive, and I'm not going to do it when I go to work tomorrow and the next day after that until, it becomes a habit, and that just doesn't happen at all.
I know this is hard. I'm sorry. It's hard for me too, but this is real. You have the power to really actually make a difference and do something about it.
Thank you.
Constant learning. In this module, you'll learn about the skills that are required to be a safe driver. As we all know, the learning process never ends. Even after obtaining your driving license, keep practicing to gain more experience. It will take time to develop good driving skills and to contribute your part for making the road a safe environment for all. The new drivers are less able to predict possible hazards. There are 5 different skills that are required to become a safe driver. They are car controls, visual scanning, thinking and responding, identifying and weighing up risk, making decision. Car controls. It is very important to know where the car controls are and how to use them properly. These controls are accelerator, brake, clutch, steering wheel, gear, and other controls, like the wipers operating switch, which is on the right side of the steering wheel. Automatic vehicles lack the clutch, as it shifts gears automatically. Visual scanning. It is important to know how to scan the road all around you and where to focus on the road while driving. Scanning is a way to view the total traffic scene as you drive. It prevents tunnel vision, which can isolate you from what is going on in the distance as well as around your vehicle. In order to avoid a last-minute maneuver and spot possible traffic hazards, you should always look down the road ahead of your vehicle. When you're looking far enough ahead in your travel path, you will be able to spot hazards early and will be well prepared to react to them. Remember, scanning helps drivers remain alert and be prepared for hazards or traffic conflicts ahead. To look behind, use your rear view mirrors and keep scanning all directions to prepare yourself for potential hazards. Thinking and responding. This skill will help you observe and quickly react to possible hazards. This skill also helps you to maintain a safer distance from vehicles around you. New drivers are more likely to crash because they often drive too close to the vehicle in the front. Therefore, always maintain a safe following distance while driving. Identifying and weighing up a risk. As a driver, you need to pay more attention to be able to judge the hazards and take necessary precautions. With the help of this skill, you will be able to identify the risk quickly according to the situation. Making decision. You can become a safer driver if you develop the decision-making ability well in advance on the road, such as when to slow down, to what speed, when to reduce the speed, what speed to drive in various roads or weather conditions, when to change lanes, and how to overtake safely. Drive safely, and remember that the learning process never ends. And never forget that excellence is not a skill, but an attitude. Two, traffic signs. The objective of this lecture is to learn and understand all about the traffic signs, road markings, and traffic lights to drive safely on the road. Let's first understand the purpose of these signs. Road signs provide visual information to help control and regulate the flow of traffic and help to keep you and other road users safe. Traffic signs or road signs are a common sight when we drive along any road. Road signs are placed on, over, or next to public roads where they fulfill an important need, command attention, provide a clear and simple message, provide enough time for road users to respond appropriately. Important rule: every road user must respect the traffic regulations and standards, follow the signs, signals, and instructions of the police officer, and behave cautiously so his conduct will not harm others, expose them to danger, or block their movement. Article 1, Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law No. 21, 1995. Broadly, traffic signs are divided into three categories: road signs, road markings, and traffic control signals. Road signs are further divided into three subcategories: regulatory signs, warning signs, and guide signs. Let's first learn about regulatory signs. Regulatory signs are used to control the action of road users. These signs tell road users what they must or must not do. Failure to obey a sign is an offense. The types of regulatory sign are controls signs, mandatory signs, prohibitory signs, parking control signs, freeway control signs. Let's start with control signs. Control signs are used to assign right-of-way priority or direction of travel. The examples of control signs are stop sign. A stop sign is a traffic sign designed to notify motorists that they must come to a complete stop while approaching it. This sign is usually found in an area where the road user's view might be obstructed or where there is an actual or hidden hazard, such as T-junction, service road, slip lane, side road, U-turn, and exit points. The stop sign instructs the motorists to stop the vehicle completely before the stop line, even if there is no traffic, scan the road, and then proceed safely. Give way sign. A give way sign means that you should give way to the traffic approaching from the main stream, either from the left or the right. It is also known as the yield sign. You may find give way signs at roundabouts, T-junctions, side roads, and exit points. While approaching a give way sign, the motorist should slow down and give way to the traffic present on the road they intend to join. Remember, both give way and stop signs are regulatory order signs. There indeed is a difference between a give way and a stop sign. At a stop sign, a motorist must legally stop just before the stop line before proceeding. This is often due to the reason that the area which the motorist intends to enter is highly hazardous. The give way rule is slightly different. In this case, though, the driver must give way to traffic ahead. He need not stop if it is found that it is safe to proceed without doing so. You must give way to pedestrians. This sign means give way to pedestrians to cross the road, as they are more vulnerable to mishaps and are not protected. You may find these signs commonly in slip lanes, residential areas, in urban areas, places of worship, parks, and shopping malls. Whenever you face this sign, slow down for pedestrians. Even if they are present near the road or a junction, be prepared to stop in order to allow them to cross the road safely. This sign means that you must give way to cyclists. It can be found at junctions or roads where there is a cycling track crossing that road or junction. At this sign, reduce your speed, look for cyclists, and give them priority if they are present nearby. This sign means that entering the indicated road is prohibited. You may find this sign at parking lots, exit points of premises, or service roads, restricted or unauthorized areas for private vehicles, at the end of a one-way road from opposite direction at the exit of the U-turn, and in areas dedicated for trams. Motorists must not enter the road where this sign is posted. Violation of this sign can lead to serious accidents. This sign shows the only permitted direction of travel in that portion of the road where the sign is posted. This sign can be on service roads, one-way streets, and parking lots. If the arrow points to any direction, either left or right, you must follow the direction of travel as per the sign. Now let's take a look at the second type of regulatory signs, which are mandatory signs. Mandatory signs are used to indicate the actions that must be taken. All the permanent mandatory signs have a blue background and are mostly circular in shape. This sign instructs the motorists to go straight ahead only. They will not be allowed to turn right, left, or make a U-turn. They must continue driving straight. Motorists are also not allowed to park in this area. The ahead only sign can be seen at traffic signals, which directs the motorists to go straight only. This sign means motorists must turn right ahead. The turn right ahead sign is used in minor roads, which alerts motorists in advance that there is a one-way road ahead. This sign means motorists must turn left ahead. This sign means that the motorists must take only a right turn. While approaching the main road, there is no option for a left turn. This sign can be found while approaching a main road from a side road that is nearly perpendicular to the main road. This sign indicates that the motorists may proceed through either side of the road in the roadway. It is usually posted on the edge of a pavement, on traffic islands, at a junction's divider, and at slip lanes. This sign indicates that the motorists must position or keep their vehicle to the right side. You will find this sign at parking lots, intersections, and T-junctions. This sign indicates that the motorists must position or keep their vehicle to the left side. This is the reverse symbol of the keep right sign and can be commonly found at roadsides and U-turns. This sign indicates a circular intersection, commonly known as a roundabout. You will find this sign close to roundabouts. Here, the road traffic is permitted to flow only in anti-clockwise direction around a central island, as mentioned by the arrows in the sign, and priority is typically given to traffic already in the junction. This sign indicates that the road or the portion of the road is set aside only for trams. No other class of road users may use this portion of the road, indicated by the tram-only sign. This sign informs the motorists that the minimum speed limit on the freeway is 60 km per hour, whereas the maximum speed limit is 120 km per hour. These signs can be commonly seen on freeways. Driving below the minimum speed limit without any reason may disturb other road users, and it may also incur a traffic fine. It is also important to understand that driving beyond the maximum speed limit involves high risk and may lead to a crash. Police reduce speed sign can be seen in temporary situations, usually at checkposts, where the police are running routine checks. Upon observing this sign, motorists are advised to reduce the speed and follow the police instructions. Now you will learn about the third type of regulatory signs, that is, prohibitory signs. Prohibitory signs are used to indicate the actions that must not be taken while driving because these are prohibited by law. Most of the prohibited signs are circular in shape with white background and a red border. This sign prohibits entry to the road in the left. It can be seen at junctions, parking lots, and service roads where entrance is allowed from the main stream, but exit is not allowed from the service roads. Motorists are not allowed to turn right at this sign. This sign indicates that the motorists are not allowed to make a U-turn at that location. This sign can be seen at some specific traffic lights where making a U-turn is prohibited. It is also sighted at crossovers where only emergency vehicles are allowed to take a U-turn. This sign forbids the drivers from overtaking. It can be found in tunnels, bridges, upward inclines on hills, sharp bending roads, and two-way traffic roads where lack of visibility make overtaking hazardous. This sign indicates that the entry of heavy goods vehicles is prohibited. It can be seen at tunnels, bridges, parking areas, and on freeways with timings and lane restrictions mentioned on qualification plates. This sign indicates that any vehicle carrying a hazardous material is not allowed to use that road. The yellow diamond symbol is commonly used to alert about hazardous materials. You may find this sign at tunnels and freeways with qualification plates. The no pedestrian sign shows that pedestrians are not allowed to use the road or zone. This sign can be seen at tunnels, bridges, cycling tracks, freeways, and near tram tracks. This sign indicates that cyclists are not allowed to ride in that zone. This sign is usually seen at tunnels, bridges, freeways, and near tram tracks. This sign means that you must not use the horn unless it is very important to avoid a hazard. You may commonly find this sign near hospitals, worship places, parks, residential, and school areas. This sign means that you must give priority to oncoming traffic. This sign is generally used in provisional situations, mostly on two-way traffic roads where your lane is temporarily blocked. In this sign, the small red arrow represents your direction of travel, which is blocked, whereas the large black arrow represents oncoming traffic. In this situation, you must stop and give priority to oncoming traffic. Once the oncoming lane is clear, you may use the lane to cross the obstruction. This sign displays the maximum speed allowed to drive on that road. You must not exceed the speed limit mentioned on the sign. This sign is posted on the road to advise you the speed limit of that stretch of the road. Remember, overspeeding is dangerous and can lead to fatal accidents. Moreover, it is a serious violation and may attract fines. This sign shows the maximum height limit allowed on the road structure ahead. This sign usually can be found at the entrance of tunnels, under bridges, covered parking areas, and construction zones where the ground clearance is not very high. It means that any vehicle taller than the mentioned height is prohibited from entering the area. This sign shows the maximum width permitted for the vehicle. This is imposed to prevent the entry of larger vehicles or vehicles with larger objects into a road that is physically incapable of accommodating the vehicle. This sign can be seen near tunnels, bridges, and basement parking. This sign means that the vehicles exceeding the maximum gross weight indicated on the sign are prohibited. The gross vehicle weight is the maximum operating mass of a vehicle as specified by the manufacturer, including occupants and the cargo. This sign is usually posted before bridges that cannot sustain the load. This plate is a supplementary sign which is always attached along with other signs. It displays the limitations regarding the attached sign. These plates are in rectangular shape. They are found below other signs and display the information related to the sign. For example, it can be used below No Hazardous Materials sign, and the qualification plate will display the timings. Now you will learn about the fourth type of regulatory signs, that is, parking control signs. Parking control signs are used to control and regulate parking and stopping, where you may park or may not park, or stop, and provide time restrictions. This sign indicates that this area is a paid parking zone. It also displays the time restrictions. All drivers must obey the sign and must not park without paying, as it could attract a parking fine. This sign indicates that the parking area has time restrictions. It displays further information about timings and direction of the parking. This sign means that the mentioned parking space is reserved for the vehicles of handicapped drivers only. This sign can be commonly found near malls, areas of worship, parks, government or other civil services buildings. Non-disabled motorists should not stop, park, or wait in this parking space. Violation may attract a fine. This sign indicates that this is a paid parking zone, and the arrow indicates the direction where you can find the parking meter in order to buy a ticket to park your vehicle. This sign shows that this parking area is reserved for taxis only. You may commonly find this sign at hotels, shopping malls, airport, and metro stations. This sign tells that this area is reserved for public transportation buses only. This area is reserved for vehicles that are loading or unloading at specific timings mentioned on the attached qualification plates. This sign shows that the area is a paid parking zone meant for commercial vehicles for loading and unloading purpose. The separate qualification plate will display the allowed parking time. These parking control signs indicate that you must not stop or park the vehicle in the area shown by these arrows, even if you are sitting in the vehicle. You may commonly find these signs at government offices, bend roads, lay-by parkings, bridges, tunnels, tram areas, schools and petrol stations. This means stopping or parking is not allowed on both the sides. This sign means that stopping or parking is not allowed in the mentioned direction during the timings shown on the sign. This sign illustrates that you cannot wait for an extended period. You can only stop to pick or drop someone. You may commonly find these signs near shopping malls, parks, school areas, airport drop-off area, and at some designated parking. Now you will learn the fifth and last type of regulatory signs, that is, freeway control signs. Freeway control signs are used to indicate which roads are classified as freeways. This sign represents the beginning of the freeway. Motorists must consider the codes of freeway and must drive at a speed appropriate to the situation in order to cope with the moving traffic on the freeway. Generally, the maximum speed on the freeway is 120 km per hour, and the minimum speed is 60 km per hour. You will find this sign at the freeway entry ramp. This sign informs the end of the freeway. It removes all restrictions imposed by the freeway begin sign. Motorists must consider the road situations and the speed limit posted on the speed signs. You will find this sign at freeway exit ramps. We will now move to the next module of traffic signs. In this module, you will learn about the second division of traffic signs, that is, warning signs. Let's first understand what the warning signs are. Warning signs alert road users of potentially hazardous conditions. Sometimes these hazards are hidden. Warning signs are divided into three groups. These are advanced warning signs, hazard marker signs, diagrammatic warning signs. Let's learn about advanced warning signs. Advanced warning signs are mostly in triangular shape, with red border and white background. These signs are posted in advance well before the situation. Let's have a look at them one by one. This sign warns the motorists that there is a traffic signal ahead. After observing the sign, the motorist must slow down, maintain lane discipline, position the vehicle according to their intended direction of travel, obey traffic lights. This sign indicates that there is a stop sign ahead. It is also used before turns to warn drivers that there is a stop sign ahead. Motorists must stop as the view might be obstructed. Give way sign ahead sign. This sign warns the motorists that there is a give way sign ahead. This sign is usually placed before turns. Motorists must slow down and be prepared to give way to the traffic coming from the main stream. This sign indicates the presence of a roundabout ahead. Roundabouts are different from an intersection. Here, traffic moves around a circular island. It can be found on single or multi-lane roads. This sign is used to warn motorists that they are approaching a roundabout. At this point, they must position their vehicles in the proper lane according to their intended direction from the roundabout. Moreover, motorists should avoid overtaking after this sign. This sign informs the road users that there is a T intersection ahead. It is found on two-way traffic roads. This sign warns the road users that their road will terminate at the continuing road. Therefore, the motorists must slow down and prepare to stop before turning either to the right or left. Most T intersections feature a give way or stop sign to remind you to give right of way to cross the traffic. This sign warns the motorists that a road is joining from the right side ahead. Motorists need to slow down and be aware of potential hazards. This sign warns the road users that the road will intersect with another road. This sign is used on two-way traffic roads. Motorists must slow down and be prepared for the vehicles approaching from both directions. Always avoid overtaking in this area. A staggered junction is a place where two roads from opposite sides, one from the left and the other from the right, meet with the main road slightly offset by a short distance. Staggered junctions are found on two-way traffic roads. Motorists must slow down and be more careful while approaching these junctions, as vehicles might be approaching from left and right. This sign warns the motorists that there is a junction ahead. where the traffic will merge into the road from the right side. Usually it is found on main roads where the traffic approaches from a side road. In this situation, motorists must slow down and be alert for the traffic. This sign warns drivers that the road is about to merge with the main road. Drivers must adjust the speed to merge with the mainstream traffic without disturbing them. This sign means that there is a two-way traffic on the road. This sign can be found commonly at the beginning of two-way traffic roads, where traffic is separated by only a line rather than a median or a barrier. Motorists need to drive carefully, position in the proper lane, and must look for the potential hazards. This sign warns that a two-way traffic road will cross the one-way traffic road ahead. This sign is found on one-way roads to warn that this road will terminate into a road where traffic is moving in both directions. Motorists must be prepared for the traffic approaching from both the directions and position properly to turn either left or right. This sign indicates that the dual carriageway will end ahead and continue as a single carriageway. Dual carriageway is a road on which traffic travels in both directions and is separated by a central median or divider. Single carriageway is a road on which traffic travels in both directions but is separated only by strips or a line. Motorists must adjust the speed and position in the proper lane. This sign warns that there is a curve in the road ahead to the right. This sign can be found before the curve of a road, usually in hilly areas. Motorists must reduce speed, control the vehicle, and avoid lane changing, overtaking, parking, and reversing on observing this sign. Motorists are also advised to position towards the left lane for better view. This sign warns that there is a curve in the road ahead to the left, and motorists must take precautions for the left curve. This sign warns the driver that there is a double bend ahead on the road. This symbol indicates that the first bend is to the left and then to the right. This symbol indicates that the first bend is to the right and then to the left. These symbols are found in hilly areas or on roads with bends. Motorists need to reduce their speed and must not overtake, change lane, park, stop, or reverse in these bends. This sign shows that right lane ends ahead. It is also used on multi-lane roads to warn you that your lane will not continue. Motorists must adjust the speed to change their lane towards the open lane without disturbing the traffic. This sign warns that the road is narrowing from the right side, which means that the width of the road will be reduced. It is found on the road where the road shoulder or the pavement is reduced. Motorists are advised to move to the left lane if they are present on the narrowing road or drive with extreme care. Here also the motorists must take the relevant precautions and drive with extreme care. This sign warns the drivers that the road is narrowing from both sides, which means that the width of the road is reduced. It is found on roads where the road median and the shoulder are reduced, resulting in the loss of a lane. Motorists are advised to adapt to the situation and refrain from driving parallel to the vehicle on their right or left. This sign warns that the left lane is closed ahead. If motorists are on the left lane, they should move to the right lane, and if they are already on the right lane, then they should be careful of the vehicle joining their lane from the left. This sign is found during a temporary situation. This sign warns that the right lane is closed ahead. Motorists must take precautions to deal with the situation accordingly. This sign represents a diversion to the opposite carriageway. This sign is typically used in temporary situations. It warns the motorists about the diversion of the traffic from one carriageway to the other. Motorists must slow down and look for the diversion on the road to pass through safely. This sign indicates that the passage along the street is blocked or prohibited. The No Through Road sign can be seen at parking areas, construction zones, and industrial areas. This sign is to warn that the road is ending ahead, and motorists must look for an alternative route. This sign indicates that there is a U-turn ahead. This sign can be seen on main roads and before traffic signals. If you intend to make a U-turn, you must position your vehicle in the appropriate lane. This sign warns that the road ahead is inclining. It is found in hilly areas. Motorists must avoid overtaking, lane changing, stopping, or parking in such areas. This sign warns that the road is declining ahead. This sign is also seen in hilly areas. It warns the motorists that the road is sloping ahead and that they must avoid overtaking, lane changing, parking, reversing, and stopping. It is also recommended to use the lower gear to control the speed. This sign warns the motorists about a pedestrian crossing ahead. It can be seen on main roads as well as on internal roads. Motorists must reduce the speed and give way to pedestrians. Moreover, avoid overspeeding, overtaking, and lane changing in such areas. This sign warns about children in the surroundings. It can be commonly seen near schools, residential areas, parks, and playgrounds. This sign indicates that children may be present nearby. Therefore, motorists must reduce their speed and take necessary precautions. This sign warns the motorists that there is a bicycle crossing ahead. Motorists are advised to reduce their speed and watch out for cyclists who might be crossing their track ahead. If cyclists are present, motorists must stop their vehicle and allow the cyclists to cross the road. The sign with the picture of an animal, such as a camel, warns road users that animals may be on the road. Sometimes the sign can also represent sheep or goats, depending on the locality. These signs can be seen near animal farms, outside city limits, or in mountain areas. Motorists must slow down when they see these signs and watch out for animals on the road. Leave enough space to allow for their unpredictable movements. Never use horn around animals. It may frighten them and cause them to run, which in turn can lead to a crash. This sign warns the road users to be cautious as roadworks is progressing. The sign is yellow in color and warns the road users of probable hazards. This sign is used in temporary situations and is often found where road maintenance or construction work is being carried out. Drivers must be prepared for the change in road conditions. They must reduce their speed, refrain from sounding horn, keep safe distance from the workers, barricades, and traffic cones. They also should not overtake in such areas. This sign displays the maximum height limit allowed for the vehicle to proceed further. This sign can be seen before flyovers that pass overhead, tunnels, and in basement parkings. It warns the vehicles that are taller than the mentioned height to refrain from entering the place. They have to use an alternate route to pass by. This sign warns the road users that there is a tunnel ahead. Motorists must take certain actions before entering the tunnel, such as check if the height and width limit allows the vehicle inside. Drive in an open lane indicated with green light. Use dippable lights for better visibility. Maintain the speed limit permitted for the tunnel. Avoid overtaking, parking, stopping, reversing, and sounding horn inside the tunnel. Remember, pedestrians, cyclists, and vehicles carrying explosive materials are not allowed to use the tunnel. This sign warns motorists that an aircraft may be flying at low altitude. This sign with an aircraft symbol can be seen near airports. Motorists must not get distracted by the sight and sound of the aircraft. Stopping and photographing is prohibited in this area. This sign warns of a bridge which opens at intervals. The qualification plate attached to it will display the timings. It is posted at or before the bridge. Motorists will be informed in advance through the information sign whether that bridge is closed for traffic. This sign warns drivers that there is a riverbank ahead or the road is terminating at the water source. This sign can be seen near creeks and riverbanks. Motorists should avoid last-minute braking in these areas as the surface can be moist and slippery. If parking is permitted, park only parallel to the quayside or the riverbank. This sign alerts the driver that there is a risk of falling rocks or other objects. It can be seen in hilly areas or near construction sites. Motorists should maintain safe distance from the hazard and be cautious while driving in these areas. They should also avoid parking nearby. This sign alerts the motorists about high voltage cables running overhead across the road. Motorists must check the height limit, avoid parking or stopping and loading or unloading their vehicles in such areas. This sign is used to warn the presence of a speed hump. It is used to force the motorists to slow down the speed of their vehicle as there may be hazards like roundabouts, pedestrian crossings, or junctions. It is commonly found near residential, school, and park areas. Motorists need to slow down and cross the speed humps slowly. Roads are often uneven in certain areas. This sign is to warn motorists that the road surface is uneven. Motorists must slow down and avoid lane changing and overtaking in these areas. This sign warns motorists of other dangers ahead. Motorists may encounter different types of hazards that will be defined on attached supplementary signs such as high voltage cables, construction area, sharp turn, temporary hump, pedestrians or animals. Motorists must reduce their speed in such areas and be alert for the hazards. This sign warns of loose chippings, such as sand or gravel. This sign is typically found on temporary roads. Motorists must reduce their speed well in advance because loose chippings might fly and hit the pedestrians, other vehicles, or nearby property. Avoid hard braking to avoid skidding and losing control of the vehicle. Moreover, the traction might reduce in such areas, so maintain a safe distance from the vehicle in front. This sign warns the motorists that the road is slippery ahead. It can be seen in hilly areas and near creeks. Motorists must reduce speed and avoid hard braking or sudden swerving. Moreover, as the vehicle can become unstable, maintain a safe space around the vehicle. Motorcyclists must take extra care because they are on two wheels. This sign warns the motorists that the material of the shoulders or verges are softer than they would be reasonably expected and may be a hazard to anyone wishing to pull off the roadway. It is located on the right side of the roadway well in advance of the soft surface. Motorists need to avoid driving in this area, and if it cannot be avoided due to an emergency, take care not to get stuck. This sign warns the road users that there is a tram route ahead and that trams may cross from right to left or from left to right. The qualification plate below the sign indicates further information, such as the direction to the tram track, distance to the tram track, or do not stop on the track. This sign is found in areas where tram is operated. This sign warns motorists that if they intend to turn right, they need to cross a tram route. A supplementary plate may be attached below the sign, indicating the distance to the tram route. Motorists need to be cautious while crossing the tram track. This sign warns motorists that if they intend to turn left, they need to cross a tram route. Motorists must take necessary precautions while crossing the tram or railway track. Now you will learn about the second type of warning signs, that is, the hazard marker signs. The hazard marker signs warn about physical hazards such as bridges, guardrails, or traffic islands. These signs are easily readable even at night as they reflect under vehicle headlights. These hazard plate signs are used to warn about bridge and guardrails. These signs can be found on major roads to alert the motorists to position their vehicle appropriately on the road. This sign is used to divert the traffic to pass either side from the traffic island. Hazard marker signs can be found at junctions, traffic signals, service roads, and at the beginning of slip lanes. Single chevron right sign indicates the change in direction of the road to the right. This marker is posted on rail guards and is used to indicate the sharpness of the curve. This sign is also used at the entry and exit ramps on major roads. Single chevron left sign indicates the change in direction of the road to the left. The multiple chevron right sign alerts the motorists to turn right. The multiple chevron right sign is commonly found on roads where there is a sharp deviation of the route to the right. The multiple chevron left sign alerts the motorists to turn left. This sign alerts the motorists to change their direction either to the right or to the left. This sign is found at T-junctions. This sign alerts road users that a single tram or a railway line is crossing the road. Motorists must be careful while crossing this area. This sign alerts that 2 or more tram or railway lines are crossing across the road. Now you will learn about the third type of warning signs, that is, diagrammatic warning signs. Diagrammatic warning signs are used when the triangle-shaped advanced warning signs do not hold enough space for the picture, or they are not big enough to draw the attention to the hazard ahead. These signs help the motorists to position the vehicle appropriately well in advance. Diagrammatic warning signs are mainly used on high-speed roads. This sign means that the right lane is closing ahead. Motorists must get prepared to enter the open lane. This sign warns the motorists that an additional lane will be added ahead. This sign is to warn motorists that the current 5 lanes will now merge into 4 lanes. Motorists in the merging lanes must be careful, as both lanes have equal allowance. This diagrammatic sign warns the heavy vehicle drivers that they are restricted from using the leftmost lane. This sign warns the motorists that the leftmost lane use is controlled. Motorists in this lane must turn left ahead. This sign warns the motorists that a median is beginning in the roadway ahead. Motorists must be careful with the central divider or median. This sign warns the motorists that the central reservation of the median is ending ahead. Motorists must be careful in this situation. Both these signs warn the motorists that a lane is joining ahead. It can be from the left, it can be from the right or the left, as shown on the sign. These diagrammatic warning signs warn the motorists on major roads about the sharp curve on lanes ahead. Motorists are advised to use the dedicated lane to complete the turn in a safe manner. This sign warns pedestrians that they are about to cross a tram track. They must look in both directions, to the right and the left, to ensure that no tram is approaching before crossing the tram route. This sign warns pedestrians that they are about to cross a tram track that travels in a single loop. The indicated arrows show the direction of the approaching tram. The pedestrians must ensure that no tram is approaching before crossing the tram route. In this module, you will learn about the third division of road signs, that is, guide signs. Guide signs provide directions, information about route numbers, street name and destinations. Generally, they are both in Arabic and English. These signs help motorists to find their destination, avoid confusion, provide predictable information, adopt direction change in advance. Various colors are used to define the background of guide signs. Guide signs with blue background are located on national routes and include the Emirates route emblem. Guide signs with green background are located on local Dubai routes and include the Dubai route emblem. Guide signs with white background show local points, roads, or destinations. Guide signs with brown background provide additional information, including symbols to describe the destination. Examples of emblems used on guide signs are Emirates route emblem, the emblem of a falcon with the letter E and a 2 or 3 digit number is used on Emirate routes. It is used to point the roads that connect with other Emirates. Dubai route emblem, the emblem with the letter D and a 2 or 3 digit number is used within the city of Dubai. It is used to identify the intercity network of roads and streets. Commonly used guide signs are trailblazing guide signs, advanced guide signs, exit direction signs, other important signs. Trailblazing guide signs. Trailblazing signs have distinctive and recognizable symbols on them and are placed en route to guide and reassure the drivers so that they are on correct road to reach their required destination. This image with the picture of an airplane is an example of a trailblazing sign. The common types of trailblazing signs are the sign with the picture of an aircraft directs the motorists to the airport. This sign with a black circle and a dot in the middle guides the motorists to the central hub of the city. This sign with the emblem of a falcon means that the road will link to the route that connects other Emirates. The sign with the emblem of a fort with 2-digit numbers in it guides the motorists through Dubai's internal roads. This sign with the picture of a freeway indicates the direction of freeway. The brown background signs are commonly used to guide the motorists to tourist destinations and for informing about other specific landmarks. Now let us see what are advanced guide signs. Advanced guide signs include route emblems, trailblazing symbols, and directional information. Motorists must check the information on advance guide signs and position their vehicle according to their destination. Let's learn about exit direction signs now. Exit direction signs help motorists to choose the proper lane that should be taken prior to exit. The white exit panel with a black arrow shows that the lane is dropping and moving away from the main carriageway. The white arrow shows that the lane will lead you to the next exit. The black exit arrows show that both the lanes are exiting from the main carriageway. Other important signs are used to provide a variety of information to the motorists on the roadway. This sign indicates that the road comes to an end ahead. You must search an alternate route to exit. This sign informs the motorists that they have priority over the vehicle coming from the opposite direction that is diverted into their path. The sign with the letter P represents parking and indicates the availability of parking lots. The sign with the letter H represents hospital. Countdown markers are used with other signs to indicate their approaching distance. Each bar represents 100 meters. They are commonly used with fuel stations, roundabouts, parking, and hospital signs. This sign prohibits trucks and lorries from turning. This sign is normally attached with a U-turn sign, which means that lorries are not allowed to make a U-turn. This sign informs the motorist that waiting is not allowed in the area. They can stop for pickup and drop-off only. This sign illustrates that the parking is available only for country diplomats. This sign can be found near consulates or embassy areas. This sign indicates about the diversion of traffic route. It is a temporary sign and is commonly found at construction zones. These supplementary signs are separately attached with other signs. They provide information to the motorists about the distance or a specific place. These reflective marker signs alert motorists about the edge of the carriageway. It is commonly found on curves, bends, and diversions. These signals indicate the lane where you can or cannot drive. These signals are kept up above the lane to indicate the use of that lane. It can be commonly found at tunnels and basement parking. A green arrow signal indicates the lane is open and motorists are permitted to drive in that lane. A red X signal indicates the lane is closed and motorists are not permitted to drive in that lane. This sign is also used with other signs to inform about physical hazards ahead. Here, motorists must reduce speed and be careful. This sign informs the motorists that the road is clear ahead and they can continue within the speed limit posted on the road. It is usually used at the area where the progressing roadwork ends or at the removal of obstructions. This informatory sign restricts the road users from entering the junction until the exit is clear from all directions including tram. This sign is found in tram areas. This informatory sign draws the attention of motorists to the penalty for violating a red light, which can cause accidents or tram interruptions. The fine can go up to AED 30,000 and can also include impounding of the driving license. This informatory sign reminds the pedestrians to always keep away from the tram track. They should always use the designated area to cross the tram track to avoid the fine, which is AED 1000. Variable message signs, VMS, are used to assist the motorist to know about different road conditions ahead, such as choice of lane, road opening time, weather conditions, heavy traffic, road accident, or construction works. If the VMS displays a speed limit, then that speed takes priority over the speed limit sign posted on that specific road for that time. Salik is an Arabic word which means open or clear. This is Dubai's electronic road toll collection system. Dubai has introduced this as part of traffic management system, allowing vehicles to move freely through tolling point at highway speed. In Dubai, Salik gates are located at different locations to ease the flow of traffic. Each time the motorists pass through a tolling point, a specific amount will be deducted from their prepaid Salik account using Advanced Radio Frequency Identification Technology, RFID. All motor vehicles passing through the Salik tolling point must have the Salik tag with a valid registered account and sufficient balance. otherwise it will be considered as a violation and can incur a fine. In this module, you'll learn about the fourth division of traffic. Road markings provide visual information to road users to help control and regulate the flow of traffic. Like road signs, road markings help road users to be safe on the road. Road markings are either white or yellow. Road markings are further divided into three main categories: regulatory road markings, warning road markings, guidance road markings. Let's learn about regulatory road markings. These road markings tell the road users what action they can or cannot do. Motorists must obey these road markings, otherwise it will be considered as a violation. This solid line along the carriageway means that motorists must not cross this line from either side, except in case of an emergency. This line is commonly found on two-way traffic roads. Important rule: you must not cross a single solid line on the road which is dividing traffic. Article 58, Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law No. 21, 1995. This is a solid white line marked across the carriageway. It means you must come to a complete stop before the stop line. It is found at intersections with a stop sign or traffic signals. Motorists must ensure that the intersection is clear before proceeding. This is a broken white line marked across the carriageway, which means give way to any vehicle or pedestrian crossing your path. It is found at intersections with the give way sign. Motorists must slow down or stop if necessary, and make sure that the intersection is clear before proceeding. Pedestrian crossings are marked with thick white lines across the crossing area to make it visible to the pedestrians and motorists. It can be found on single and dual carriageways. Motorists are advised to slow down and give way to pedestrians. Usually zigzag lines are used before the pedestrian crossing, where motorists must avoid lane changing, overtaking, parking, stopping or reversing. Box junctions are marked with yellow criss-cross diagonal grid lines within a large box. Their purpose is to keep the junction clear for smooth flow of traffic. It is commonly found at traffic light intersections. Motorists should not enter the box junction until the exit is clear, even if the signal is green, because it can block the traffic and cause an accident or attract fines. Tramline pedestrian crossings are marked with thick black and yellow lines across the tram track to make it visible to the pedestrians. Moreover, they are controlled by traffic signals. Pedestrians must observe pedestrian signals to cross the line safely. Zigzag lines are used to indicate the motorists should not stop or park adjacent to the line markings except to give way to pedestrians and cyclists. The outer zigzag line will be in yellow while the inner one will be in white. Changing lanes, overtaking and reversing are prohibited here. In order to cross a zigzag zone, the pedestrians and cyclists should use only the pedestrian crossing. Tram box junction is an area where trams cross the junction. The surface area along the track is highlighted with red color over the yellow box, which indicates the tram movement area. Motorists must always keep the red zone clear and not stop the vehicle on it to avoid obstruction to the tram movement. Now let's learn about the second type of road markings, that is, warning road markings. Warning road markings are used to warn the road user of an approaching hazard or a hazardous condition. There are different types of warning road markings. The commonly used markings are rumble strips, speed humps, tram level crossing. Rumble strips are painted yellow raised lines across the carriageway. When motorists drive over them, they can hear the rumble and feel the vibration. This alerts and warns them of an approaching hazard like roundabout, pedestrian crossing, traffic light, bridge or speed breaker. Speed hump markings are used to warn motorists of the presence of a speed hump in the roadway. It comprises of yellow triangles arranged at the entry climb of the speed hump. The apex of the triangle points to the direction of travel. A raised table pedestrian crossing is usually combined with the speed hump marking. Motorists must reduce the speed and cross it only if it is clear. Tram level crossing is indicated with an X mark in thick white lines on the lane. This mark is used to warn motorists that their lane is about to cross the tram line. Motorists should proceed with care, as the tram might be crossing after turning from the lane. Now let's learn about the third type of road markings, that is, guidance road markings. Guidance road markings are used to help motorists understand the paths vehicles should follow through intersections or roundabouts. Lines in the center of the road are marked along the carriageway to separate two or more lanes traveling in the same direction. There are 3 different patterns of lines that provide guidance to motorists. They are short intermittent lines, long intermittent lines, continuous longitudinal lines. Short intermittent lines along the carriageway are used on a stretch of road where there is no side road, junction or exits. It is considered as a safe zone. Motorists can change lanes or overtake after performing the necessary checks. Long intermittent lines along the carriageway are used on a stretch of road where there is a side road, junction or exits. It is considered a potential hazard zone. Motorists can change their lane but need to be careful as there might be vehicles joining in their path. Continuous longitudinal lines or solid lines along the carriageway are used near curves, intersections, hills, or other danger zones. It is considered as an actual hazard zone. Motorists must not overtake or change lanes unless it is an emergency. Broken yellow line is marked along the carriageway in the center of the road. It is used on two-way or the single carriageway road. Motorists must drive carefully, and if it is necessary to overtake, they must do so safely. Broken white line is painted along the carriageway in the center of the road. It is commonly used on one-way or dual carriageway road. Motorists must observe the pattern of the lines and drive carefully within one lane. Solid single or double lines are marked along the carriageway in the center of the road. Usually it is seen in an area that is hazardous, like sharp bends, where the motorist's view ahead is not clear. Motorists must not cross these solid lines. Double yellow lines, solid on one side and broken on the other, are painted along the carriageway in the center of the road. Motorists can cross these lines to overtake, enter, or to leave the road only if the broken line is on their side. It is usually found in an area where the road is going uphill or downhill with bends. This is a solid yellow line marked along the edge of the carriageway. The area beyond this line is called hard shoulder or emergency lane, as it can only be used by emergency vehicles. Motorists should not stop beyond this line unless it is an emergency. Traffic lane arrows are marked in the middle of the lane. These lines indicate the direction in which the traffic in these lanes must travel. Traffic lane arrows also indicate the declaration lane ahead. These arrows guide the motorists to move into the lane as indicated. These markings highlight the area that separate the traffic movements. Motorists must travel in their lanes and avoid stopping or parking on these markings as they indicate a physical hazard. This yellow marking is used at the entrance of government buildings, schools, or off-street premises to keep it clear. Motorists must not wait, stop, or park their vehicles in front of this area as it may obstruct the way or view. In this module, you will learn about traffic lights, which is the last division of traffic signs. Traffic lights, also known as traffic signals, are signaling devices positioned at intersections, pedestrian crossings, and other locations to control the flow of traffic by giving priority to different traffic streams, including pedestrians. These traffic lights are displayed in standard colors, which is red, amber or yellow, and green. Generally, these lights are used as traffic light, directional light, intermittent light, pedestrian light. A red traffic light means you must stop and should not enter the intersection. it is important to stop the vehicle before the traffic light. Green traffic light signal means you may proceed in a controlled manner, as the green light may change at any time. When you are approaching a green traffic light, you must be prepared for a traffic light change. Blinking green light means it is about to change to amber. This means you must stop if safe to do so. This quick decision can be made if motorists anticipate the point of no return. The point of no return is the point beyond which you will not be able to stop. Directional lights are used at intersections along with the traffic signal to control the movement of traffic in a direction, mostly to the left or for U-turn. Intermittent lights are flashing amber or yellow lights fitted mostly on single light post. These lights are commonly used at pedestrian crossings or near school zones to warn the motorists that priority shall be given to children and pedestrians. If the regular traffic signal shows intermittent light, it means give way to the vehicle coming from the left. This practice is commonly seen at roundabouts. Pedestrian lights or signals are used to help pedestrians to cross the road in a controlled manner. It is commonly found at intersections and junctions. Pedestrians may press the traffic light control button and wait for the light to change to green walking signal. It is also important to ensure that the traffic is stopped first before you cross the road. If the pedestrian green signal flashes, do not begin to cross. Important rule. If there is not a policeman organizing traffic or any traffic sign for the same purpose on junctions or crossroads, the priority of crossing must be given to vehicles coming from main road. Where there is a roundabout, priority shall be given to whoever is coming from the left. Article 8, Executive Bylaw, UAE Federal Traffic Law No. 21, 1995. Always follow the traffic signs, signals, and road markings to drive safely, and remember, safety is the utmost priority.